In this video, I'm going to recommend to you the best headphones for mixing and mastering and music production, but even if you're not a music maker, you can still watch and have fun probably. Anyway, in the recent years, for my non-English channel, I have tested like 30 or 40 different models, and these are 10 best, I think. So what do I have here? I will start with the cheapest one that I think is suitable for professional mixing and also great headphones, a classic model which is called DT770 Pro. So this is Beyerdynamic. And also I included the relatively new model Sennheiser HD650. Both headphones are around $150–180, so relatively inexpensive for very good headphones. And then I will move to new models of Beyerdynamic, and these are 700 Pro X and 900 Pro X open back and closed back headphones. Very nice. This is a huge upgrade, and these headphones are like a middle class headphones, I would say, for audiophiles and music makers. And then I will move to some other classic headphones, and these are these are HD650. Most people who are interested in music listening, and also they are sound engineers, lots of musicians use those headphones, open back, very nice, very well balanced headphones, and I will definitely talk about them. So this is like so these were $250, and here we have $350 or $400. And then we move to some more classic headphones, audiophile headphones that need no introduction, DT1770 Pro. Actually, I've got a wrong box because I borrowed the headphones, the demo versions. These are all demo models, so there will be no unboxing for you guys this time. These are probably around 500, depending on where you live and where you're buying. And then we have very interesting models of Neumann, and the H20 and 30, so open back and closed back headphones. Very different. I'm surprised really by those headphones. These have phenomenal, mid-range, and these are totally different. Well, I will say more about those later. And also I have here two pair of headphones I own and I use every day, and these are Slate VSX. I think they're about $350 now, and they come with the emulation of speakers, so this is something which is very cool for music producers. And also HD800S, and these are like reference big boy headphones. I love them, I absolutely love them, and these are probably 1,500 or 600. You'll have to check the price. So let's begin from the cheapest to the most expensive ones. Let's go. So I refreshed my memory. These headphones do not disappoint. To be totally honest with you, I have never been a big fan of these. I think they are decent, and it's really hard to get something better at this price range. I remember testing headphones below $100, and most of them had some flaws. They either were totally light, no bass at all, or they were dark or very harsh, or they had some kind of scoop, like a disco smile, as I say. So these are actually quite well balanced. They had solid punch, the bass is fast, it's dynamic, the mid-range is quite colorful, and the upper range is a bit on the bright side, but actually these headphones are detailed enough for some more serious work. However, if you look at some measurements, I use monitor correction tool, which is called Sound ID Reference by SonarWorks. They actually measured most models of headphones available, and the measurement for this looks like this. And actually I can confirm that if you listen to some techno or trap music where you have a lot of very low end energy, like 30 or 40 Hertz, you won't hear them as loud as higher frequencies like 60 or 70 Hertz. So there's a lot of bass, but not in the lowest department. Apart from that, they are really good. Of course, if you go up in the price, you'll get more detail, more space, and probably some better represented high-end, but this is actually quite good. And even though I use this correction sometimes, I usually get rid of this correction. So the correction software works like this. It actually applies, you know, some kind of correction to counterbalance this imbalances in the original headphones, but I would not do this. This is not a problem actually. I would only do some mild correction here. So if you don't have any software correction, but you have an EQ, I would suggest you do correction like this, and these headphones will sound a lot better with such correction. You've got 3 versions of DT770 to choose from: 80 ohm version, 250 ohm version and 32 ohm version. And even though the 250 ohm version is considered most professional and best sounding, I found that the differences between the 80 ohm versions and 250 ohm version are, you know, negligible. There is almost no difference. I would say that 250 ohm version has a little bit more clarity to it, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of more bass in 40 Hz department maybe. Other than that, but even though I would choose 80 ohm version as the most versatile, and you can use it even with your phone. I don't recommend 32 ohm version because I found it was I could notice that it was less detailed and slightly more harsh at times, so I would just go with the 80 ohm version, and you can power it off with any interface, which might not be the case with the 250 ohm version that requires a little bit more power. Well, these headphones are comfortable and they are okay for longer sessions. Also the velour pads are nice. The isolation is good and sufficient, so we can use it for vocal recordings and voiceover recordings, and also for listening music even outside. Sennheiser HD560S, I haven't tested them before. They actually surprised me with the big low end and very punchy and warm bass. They actually have very warm sound, but they also have enough high end, so they are quite bright also. But the low end and the mid-range seem to be flat. Vocals sound really warm and natural. And those headphones are really good for presenting, you know, bass drums and electronic music and dance music and hip-hop, R&B, etc. They are very light, much lighter than the DT770, and even though they put a little bit more pressure on your head, it doesn't seem to bother me. Also, they have special construction. Those transducers here are angled, so they actually don't touch your ear, which might be good for the sensation of spaciousness, so how you perceive space and depth in the mix. So yeah, so they are quite comfortable, and also they are 120 ohm. So and even though they have higher impedance, I needed, I think, 5 decibels of gain less than in case of Beyerdynamic. So very interesting headphones. Measurements confirmed what I already said. The headphones have a big low end. They are flat from 30-40 Hz basically, and they are quite flat in the mid-range also. There are not really any noticeable bumps, and of course the highs are accentuated a little bit, so they have this kind of sizzle brightness. That is really nice in most recordings. So in my opinion, those headphones do not require any EQing, they just have their own sound. Comparing those two headphones, I would say Sennheiser's has deeper bass. They also have overall warmer sound, which at times feel just a little bit closer. On the other hand, Beyerdynamics will give you more exciting sound, and sometimes they feel a little bit more detailed because they just tiny bit brighter than Sennheiser's. On the other hand, Sennheiser's will give you a better depth, and some short reverbs in acoustic music are presented in a little bit more detail because of this open back construction. But on the other hand, you cannot use those headphones for vocal recordings or voiceover recordings, and these are suitable for such purposes. Going up with sound quality and price, I have Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro X and Beyerdynamic 900 Pro X, the open back version, and these actually were not made to replace the older model. They were built from the ground up and they have completely new transducers, Stellar 45 mm transducers, new pads, they are bigger, they are softer, and they are detachable, if you like. And the large diameter of diaphragms with neodymium magnet obviously favors very good reproduction of low tones, but perhaps the most important innovation here is the use of an extremely light copper-coated voice core. And combined with a very light composite diaphragm made of 3 layers, the entire system has very low resistance and much better transient processing. Additionally, the manufacturer assures that the stiffness allows for lower level of harmonic distortion, so this actually can provide you with a high SPL and very little distortion, and also they have only 48 ohm of impedance, so perfect for phone or anything really. Well, I have to say that there is a huge difference between those two. Well, first and foremost, the new 700 Pro X will give you much deeper bass. You can actually hear the punch, the really clear bass and precise, somewhere as if you were listening to the big monitor system. And also they are a bit warmer and they provide you with the bigger sound overall. Also the separation between sounds is much better, the clarity is much better, so you can hear more detail. And even though you have closed back construction in both cases, this will provide you with better stereophony, more detail and wider soundstage. So listening to the same recordings on these both two, these sometimes feel a little bit flat, balanced but flat and a little bit lifeless compared to those. So these actually have much more clarity to them, and yeah, I would definitely prefer those. If you had $100 more to spend, definitely go with the new ones, and also they have very low impedance, so this is a huge advantage here. So as you can see, to compare those two guys that have identical, build and pads and transducers, I decided to connect them both to my Antelope Audio Discrete Pro 8, so I can switch between them instantly. So which are actually better, 700 Pro X or 900 Pro X? Well, they are actually very similar headphones. The 900 Pro X seem to have a little bit fuller sound, so the Rhodes and guitars sound a little bit warmer, but apart from that they are very similar. Bass-wise they have similar energy, maybe 900 goes a little bit lower, but this is a very small difference. In the upper range they have very similar signature, they're almost identical to me, and the benefits of the open back construction is relatively small, I would say. The soundstage is presented on both headphones very well, so if you need headphones for listening, I would go with 900. I prefer them slightly, but if you need headphones to record vocals and you need universal ones, just go with this, you'll be very happy with those. And I'll show the spill. So these actually keep the sound inside. But when I put 900 close to the microphone now, yeah, you can hear much more of this spill outside. But the isolation from outside is good on both headphones. This, of course, will let more high frequency inside, but actually the isolation is also quite good. So that's it. So as you can see, the measurements by SonarWorks confirm that DT770 Pro X has this kind of a little bit recessed low mids in the area of 200-300 Hz, but apart from that, these headphones are really similar. And 900X has almost reference-like bass and low mids, very nice, warm and balanced, and this signature is also really nice. Most very expensive headphones also has this sort of highs and bumps. This is normal, and this is almost the same for both headphones here. And I've got another classic here, Sennheiser HD650. Actually, there are two models, very similar, 600 and 650. Both are well known among audiophiles and sound engineers, and no wonder the 600 model has been produced with minor modifications continuously since 1997, and 650s have been on the market since 2003. Well, actually, there's nothing to dislike about these headphones. Most people who test them for the first time, they usually like it a lot. They have very natural sound, very flat response. As you can see here, this is the curve for the HD650. They have very tight bass, but deep bass also. They have natural sounding mid-range. They are quite warm, and also they have gentle treble sound, which most people like. They do not have tendency to, to accentuate sharpness. They are not crazy detailed, but they are detailed enough for very serious work. Also, they have very open sound, so I would say these are very good for working with space, with reverbs, with delays. So if you're planning on Atmos mixing, this might be just right for that task. But how do they compare to cheaper DT900 Pro X? Let's see. This was a very interesting comparison. Both headphones are great and both give a lot of pleasure when listening to music. Actually, they are both warm and both have great bass. On Sennheisers, however, the bass is a little bit faster and tighter, and here you've got just a little bit more of that bass. But Sennheisers give you a little bit more detail in the higher mid-range. They are very flat in this department, and also they are quite detailed and bright, and even though those look a bit brighter, Beyerdynamic look a little bit brighter on the measurements, they're actually quite similar. So both are very detailed, great for working with reverbs and Atmos, but what I was surprised that DT900 have a little bit wider soundstage than these actually, but these are balanced a little bit better, so sound overall seems to be a little bit closer when listening to vocals, guitars, etc. So, well, it's up to you. If you're already stretching your budget getting DT900, just get them and you'll be super happy. But if you've got a little bit more to spend, just consider this, because they are a little bit more natural sounding headphones, so probably better for mastering, and also they are more comfortable when working long hours, because this is only a mesh. They are very, very open, and these are just a little bit more heavy and bulkier. But the difference is not huge. Both headphones are very comfortable. Okay, so I just made one more experiment. I compared those headphones with the correction, and Sennheisers definitely benefit from this small bass boost, and Beyerdynamic benefit from this mid-range boost, but they sound a little bit darker with this correction, so you might want to boost or do it like this. And now the Beyerdynamics actually sound a little bit warmer and more musical. but those have a little bit more open sound. They have those treble really right. So I'm not really sure with the correction which one is better. Both are really good. Well, so at this point you may be wondering whether it is worth to pay more for Sennheiser's HD600 or 650, they're quite similar, and not buy the HD560S. Well, the truth is they have very similar bass response, so they are both big sounding headphones with nice warm mid-range, but the more expensive ones will actually provide more detail, more accuracy, and they're a little bit brighter overall. And I also tried to listen with the sound correction here, and I found that HD600s, they just sound, you know, very natural and quite bright and very detailed, and bass is very tight. And the cheaper ones, actually, even if you leave this out of correction, so if you let them play their natural way with the extended high end, they will still sound a little bit darker and less detailed. And bass is not that tight or not that precise. So if you're planning to buy headphones just for listening to music, probably you'll be happy with the cheaper model, but if you're more demanding and you want more detail and more accuracy, you know, there's just so much more these headphones will reveal to you. The sound separation, the level of detail and natural sounding snares and high end is just uncomparable between those two. Now it's time for Slate VSX, and these are actually kind of special. That's why I'm going to allow myself a little bit longer introduction. Slate VSX headphones are very well balanced, and in combination with the included software they create a complete hybrid system for speaker emulation in your DAW. Poor acoustics in home studios often mean that what we hear is very different from what comes of our speakers, hence the idea to emulate the acoustics and sound properties of monitors installed in the most famous studio facilities. Apart from that, the system also allows us to hear what our recording could sound like in a car or club, so assumably that way we can make sure our recordings, our mixes will sound good everywhere. The headphones are equipped with Beyerdynamic drivers, which facilitate excellent transient processing and a natural sound. Scale Electronics systems are responsible for equalizing the mid-range. And for the deep, powerful bass, they use APS system, acoustic ported subsonics, that is something similar to bass reflex in some studio monitors. Air from behind the transducers is sucked in and directed to the ear cups, which have special holes in them. Near-perfect characteristics provide the basis for realistic emulations of the acoustics of recording studios and other spaces. Well, it could have gone sideways, you know. There could have been just mediocre headphones with some gimmicky software, but actually these are excellent headphones. They have phenomenal bass, very tight, very precise, very deep. They're very cool for judging kicks, EQing kicks in club music. Also, the mid-range is very warm, full, silky, very musical and very natural. I love how the Rhodes sounds and vocals, guitars, they all sound excellent. And also in the high range they are very smooth, not overly detailed, but very musical and very natural sounding headphones. And also the soundstage is wide enough for serious work, so they're just very pleasurable to listen to, and I will compare them with others now. Well, this was a very interesting comparison. Both headphones have great bass response, but Slate VSX just seem to have a little bit more of that bass, and they go deeper, and the bass is also very fast and very tight and very precise. In the mid-range, both headphones have very nice sound, though I find the Slate VSX has a little bit more warmth to it, and they sound very musical. Sennheisers, on the other hand, seem to have just a little bit more detail in the higher mid-range. So when you're talking about vocal presence or snares, they seem to have a little bit more clarity to it. But on the other hand, I find Slate VSX sound a bit more natural overall and a bit more musical. And actually, when I gave those two pairs to my students on my mixing workshops I organized in Warsaw, Poland, most of them preferred Slate VSX over Sennheiser. So this is something to think about. But both headphones are really great. Probably Sennheisers are more suitable for longer sessions because of the open back construction, but Slate VSX, on the other hand, have great isolation. They actually have better isolation than my AirPods I use. So when I go for a walk, I just prefer to plug in those headphones. They give a much better sound, much more musical sound, they give more punch, and the isolation is better than with those that have actually this active sound reduction. So this is something to think about. Oh, and they are low impedance, of course. Well, so I decided to listen to some music with the SonarWorks Sound ID reference correction. And look, this is the spectrum of the Slate VSX. And when I apply correction, I actually find that only this region actually benefits from a little bit of correction. So the higher mids might need a little bit boost, and this is the only thing that I would correct in those near perfect headphones. So how Slate VSX compare to the DT900 Pro X? Fight! Surprisingly, both pairs have really similar sound signature, I would say. Both have great bass, but for electronic music I would prefer Slate VSX because they go a little bit lower, deeper, and I would trust them a little bit more for EQing, kick and bass and stuff. Those, on the other hand, 900 Pro X, they excel in presenting some reverb details. They're a little bit more spacious, I would say. Probably because they are open back headphones, and also they are just tiny bit brighter, but it's a very small difference really. However, comparing Slate VSX with 700 Pro X, I would definitely go with Slate VSX because they just seem more balanced, warmer and have better bass. It's time for Neumann. When I mention the name Neumann, I immediately picture microphones, but German manufacturers offer now also includes studio monitors and headphones, closed NDH20 and open NDH30. The headphones look very impressive and are surprisingly comfortable, even though they weigh nearly 400 grams. The large metal ear cups, in case of NDH20, are also responsible for excellent isolation, at least 34 decibels of ambient noise reduction. The impedance of 150 ohms for the closed headphones and 120 ohms for open back headphones is moderate. This means that they basically can be driven by any audio interface. Neumann recommends them also for mobile devices, and they work okay for normal listening with my iPhone, though the sound was moderately loud at most. Both headphones are characterized by extremely low level of harmonic distortion, below 0.1% and even below 0.03% in case of the open model, and both pairs are powered by 38mm drivers with neodymium magnets. And before we move on, I have to tell you that one of these I absolutely love and the other not so much. Well, I start with NDH20. These are really nice, interesting headphones, and if you listen to some jazz recordings, fusion or some acoustic instruments, they may sound phenomenal. And they have a beautiful mid-range, but they have two flaws. First, when you switch to listening to some more contemporary music, dance music or pop music or hip-hop, you'll hear that they lack bass. And don't trust reviewers who say that they have solid bass. No, they don't. Also, I gave it to my students on my mixing workshops and all confirmed that in comparison to other headphones in this set, they lack bass. And there is one more thing, when listening to electronic music, I noticed that there is some kind of sharpness in the area of 3.5 kHz, and I have to cut it and then I'm happy. Because using it out of the box, I felt that hi-hats were a little bit harsh sometimes, and all those claps in pop music like they were making those really resonancy sounds. So when I cut it, I'm happy with those headphones, but I wouldn't use them without correction. And this correction could look like this. So basically, I would boost bass by 6 or more decibels in the low end, and I will cut it here with some really narrow filter, and then I'm happy. They are very well. They have beautiful high end, they are very detailed. So, for instance, in comparison with Slate VSX, even if I boost this high mid-range area here, still the VSX will sound a little bit duller and darker than NDH20. However, I really didn't like this harshness around 3.5, and I would like to have more bass. So if you're planning to buy those headphones, they may probably complement well other sets of headphones, but don't buy them unless you don't want to correct them. But you can correct them because they have very high SPL. They can play very loud, so they're very flexible and very musical, so you can correct them like crazy and they will still sound good. But NDH30 is a different story. This is not just an open back version of NDH20. These are totally different. They sound phenomenal, they're well balanced, they have great bass and totally flat and musical, almost ideal low mid frequency range, and they do not have any harshness or sharpness to them. And also highs are very gentle, subtle, but very bright and very open, and all reverbs and details are presented in a very elegant way. So these are wonderful headphones. I fell in love with them instantly. So they are totally different than NDH20. So I would definitely recommend paying a little bit more for those because they sound phenomenal. They sound just a little bit better with this correction, especially when you boost these super high frequencies. They open up even more. And look, this mid-range is like perfect. I haven't seen that in almost any model here. So this, I would highly recommend those headphones, definitely over NDH20s. So comparing NDH30 with, let's say, Slate or some Beyerdynamic headphones, they will sound brighter and more open in a very elegant way. So with Slate, for example, even if I boost high mids here, still NDH30 will sound much brighter and much more open and spacious. It's time for Beyerdynamic's DT1770 Pro. They're like an exclusive version of 770. They are bigger, they are sturdier, there's a very solid construction here. The frame is made of metal, the ear cups come with the soft velour and leather version. They favor long session. These headphones are closed and they are equipped with a 3-layer 45, so very big dynamic Tesla driver, and are characterized by deep, solid and bass, and also very detailed sound. So these headphones are characterized by a very deep, solid and, let's be honest, slightly exposed bass. The pulse in urban and club recordings is very strong. However, there's also a nice uncolored low mid-range, so that gives a feeling of being close to the sound source, and they are warm sounding headphones overall. And the lows and mids are complemented by great representation of high frequencies, which are slightly boosted, but the sound is clear and pleasant. So you are unlikely to make too bright mixes or masters with these headphones, which is an advantage to my ear. The treble sounds great in both jazz recordings and pop music, and if there is any sharpness or resonances in the recording, these headphones will expose it for you. I'll be honest with you, I almost like these headphones. They never disappoint. They have very nice sound overall. They're great for mixing, they're great for mastering. And if you have 770 and you're thinking about switching them for something better, you'll absolutely love these headphones. There's also an open back version, and I tested it recently, and I kind of preferred it a little bit, but the difference is not significant, I would say. The presentation of space is also great on these headphones. They are very detailed, and actually having headphones that are closed back is more versatile, it's more universal. These sound great, great 3D sound, and you can use it for vocal recordings, you can use it for listening outside. So actually I think I would pick these ones over 1990 Pro. Very nice headphones, and let's see how they compare to others. So how do Beyerdynamic 1770 Pro compare to other headphones? Let's start with Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro. So let me switch the graph for the characteristics, and you can instantly see that the mid-range is a little bit recessed, and I could definitely feel that there is a little bit more bass, but in the higher bass region, I would call it. I could definitely hear a little bit too much bass and a little bit too little of this warm mid-range. So these headphones are warmer and a little bit fuller, and they're also a bit brighter. But there is not night and day difference, you know? There is not really a huge difference when you hear them at the first glance. And I would not say that these are twice more expensive, so this actually has excellent value for money. But of course, these are a bit better and a bit more detailed and brighter. And moving on to Slate VSX, I could feel that Slate have a little bit of more precision in the bass region. They also seem to be a little bit deeper. There is a very dry and precise bass here. They also have a little bit flatter and warmer mid-range, I would say, but they are not too detailed and not too spacious. These, on the other hand, provide a little bit more detail in the high end. You've got lots of high-end detail here and a little bit more space. And moving on to HD550, I could feel that Sennheiser headphones actually have better balance in the higher mid-range. They provide you with a little bit more detail, though they're a little bit darker. So the space is slightly narrower, and but they're also very warm headphones, and they have great bass and better mid-range balance, I would say. These, however, sound a little bit more, how to say, a little bit more effective. They make bigger impression because of this boosted highs and a little bit more 3D space here. So, but definitely you should check both before buying, because both are great headphones. And I almost forgot to compare Beyerdynamic DT1770 with the NDH30 from Neumann. I am actually not comparing Beyerdynamics with NDH20 because they have kind of specific sound to them, but these actually are super well balanced and they have beautiful mid-range. Look at the graph here. It's actually super flat, and listening to some vocal groups like Take 6 or Manhattan Transfer or some Quincy Jones recordings, you can actually feel that the mid-range is ultra natural. There is nothing artificial about it. It sounds just superb, and it's so wonderful you can almost cannot stop listening to those headphones. And also they feel just a tiny little bit more open than these headphones. This is an open construction, open back construction, so these are two main differences, and I think it's reasonable that there is a price difference. I think $200 price difference is okay for these headphones, because this actually provides you with a little bit more open sound and a little bit better balanced mid-range. But both headphones are great and you'll be happy buying any of these. However, if you can stretch your budget even more, get this. And I decided also to include my beloved Sennheiser HD800S. I absolutely love them. I use them every day. They appeared on the market in 2009, and then they upgraded them to S version in 2015. The design is great. They're surprisingly light for an audiophile product. They weigh only slightly above 300 grams. Apparently this is due to the selection of materials used in the aviation and space industry, and they have high durability and low weight. So these are the most comfortable headphones I have ever had. The headband adjustment is very large, takes place in 10 steps, and you just need to get used to the gripping of the ear cups, because they are huge. There are 56mm drivers here installed, and the largest I have ever encountered, and a very delicate metal mesh here. Even though the design is very compact, there is no noise when stretching the headband and rotating them, and the manufacturer boasts that the extraordinarily detailed sound results from the use of a patented absorption technology, which allows to suppress all resonances and eliminate masking phenomenon that affects our hearing when we perceive and the way we perceive high tones. So how do these sound actually? There are lots of reviews of Sennheiser HD800S, so I just tell you the most important things. These are super detailed headphones. The transients and high-end details I presented in unprecedented quality and detail and precision. The soundstage is very wide and very deep at the same time. They've got great, tight, super fast, precise bass, but the bass is actually a bit punchier on Neumann's and Beyerdynamics, but listening to most music genres, you will feel that there is just enough bass there. For club music, you might need a little bit of a 3D boost maybe for those headphones, but other than that, they're just marvelous. They have beautiful mid-range and absolutely beautiful high-end, and they're more detailed than any other headphones in this comparison. Though I made an experiment and I actually applied correction not to Sennheiser's but to Neumann's, and this boost and high-end boost actually make these sound quite similar to Sennheiser's, which are much more expensive. However, Sennheisers still give a little bit more detail and precision and transients. So this is an advantage, and the distortion is like 0.01. I don't remember, but it's super low. It's much lower than any other headphone I tested. If you've got this far, please subscribe to my channel, and I prepared some final comparison for you. I tried to evaluate all those models in terms of bass, clarity, mid-range, soundstage, high details, comfort, and if they're appropriate, if they're good for mixing and mastering. Well, I was a little bit harsh for Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro. I think Sennheiser's HD560S do a little bit better job in bass department. Maybe
250 ohm version of Beyerdynamic would get 3 stars from me, but in this comparison, Sennheisers win just a little bit. And if we move higher in the price range, DT700 and DT900 Pro actually have much better, much deeper bass. They are overall bigger sounding, and also Sennheiser's HD650, they also have great bass. However, there are a few headphones that really stand out in my opinion, and I would say Slate VSX, I really trust them in bass department, and also they offer great emulations of club and car environment, and also we can check like in a virtual studio. So for checking bass, Slate VSX are super great, and also I love the bass on Neumann NDH30. Of course, DT1770 Pro from Beyerdynamic also have super great and slightly accentuated bass, and the most expensive Sennheiser's HD800S. Well, this is the only area where I think they could have been just a little bit better to be totally perfect. Well, actually, not all headphones could get 5 stars. There was a huge price range here from $150 to $1,500. So I couldn't give all headphones 5 stars or 4 stars. So that is why I was a bit judgmental. So if you disagree, just please write a comment, and I'm just moving on here. In terms of clarity, I think that the more expensive headphones, the more clarity they have to them. And I think Beyerdynamic's 770 and HD560S, they're just clear enough for professional work. You can live with that and you can mix on those headphones. It's just enough. 3 stars means okay for professional work. However, the Beyerdynamic DT700 and 900 Pro X, they're just so much better in terms of clarity. And I think VSX, Sennheiser's HD650 and the new Beyerdynamics Pro X, they just kind of on par in terms of clarity. All headphones will give you great results. However, there are a few models that really stand out here, and I would say that Beyerdynamics DT1770 Pro stand out, and also NDH30 from Neumann. They have super cool clarity to them, super low distortion, and it really shows when you listen to them. And I just couldn't resist giving Sennheiser's HD800S 6 stars because they're just superb in this area. So moving on to neutral mid-range. Of course, cheap headphones do not have great mid-range. They are just okay for professional work, and I kind of think that headphones to $250, there is just one model that stands out, and it's the Beyerdynamic DT900 Pro X. They have a very nice mid-range, and actually I would say that it's kind of on par, it's comparable with Sennheiser's HD650 and Slate VSX, and also Beyerdynamic DT1770 Pro, which has kind of a little bit recessed this mid-range. They have different mid-range, but in terms of quality, overall quality and detail, they're just kind of the same. And two models really stand out as far as natural mid-range is concerned. These are Neumann and Sennheiser. And moving on to soundstage, those cheap headphones, or relatively cheap headphones, have very limited soundstage, so we cannot perceive too much depth or detail in the mix. However, moving on to DT700 Pro X, these are actually quite cool in terms of 3D soundstage, and 900 Pro X are even better. I gave only 3 stars to HD650 because I think that the soundstage is a little bit narrow. There's a lot of detail here and nice clarity, but it's kind of a little bit narrow. And same for Slate VSX because it's close-back headphones. However, if you move higher in the price, you get DT1770 Pro or Neumann NDH30. They are just superb in this area, as well as reference HD800S. For highs, I would say that Neumann and Sennheiser, the most expensive ones, stand out here. However, I think that the open back DT900 Pro X, Sennheiser and Slate, they all have very nice highs. Beyerdynamic DT1770 Pro have a little bit boosted high-end, Slate have a little bit calmer, softer high-end, but also very nice. Same for Sennheiser, so it's just a question of preference. In terms of detail, I would say that Sennheisers really stand out. This is something that these reference headphones are super great for. However, I think that Neumann NDH30 and Beyerdynamic DT1770 Pro are superb. And other headphones here are also great and the detail is high, except for the cheapest headphones in this comparison. For comfort, actually all headphones are pretty cool. I don't know why I gave Sennheiser HD 3 stars here. I think I could have given them 4 stars. And for me, the most comfortable headphones were Sennheiser's HD650. They're very light, and even though they're plastic, they're super light and super comfortable. And also Sennheisers, they are super comfortable. I also liked Neumann's headphones and Beyerdynamic headphones for that matter. And now the final ultimate comparison for those of you who make music. How good are those headphones for mixing, mastering and Dolby Atmos? I've got good news for you. All those headphones are actually great for mixing work. You can use those for mixing with confidence and you can get great results. However, if you're planning to use those headphones for mastering, well, I think you should get just best headphones you can afford, because mastering is a very demanding task and you should really look for linear characteristics and natural mid-range and overall balance. And if you're planning to do some Dolby Atmos mixes, I think it's the detail and space that really matters, so you should look for best transient processing and detail and clarity. So let me explain. So 3 stars for DT770 and HD560S. They're just okay for mixing. You will get great results. Lots of people are using them, lots of professional sound engineers, so they are fine. However, DT700 and 900 Pro X are just so much better. So I would really recommend going up here. If you can afford, just get these. Also, Sennheisers and Slate are even better because they have better balance, and also Slate offers this plugin system that emulates different environments, so you can check your mixes in virtual club, in virtual car, or in virtual studio. Some people even mix whole songs using studio emulations, and they are really good. However, if you're looking for even more detail, I think you should get Beyerdynamic DT1770 Pro or NDH30. And also Sennheisers are great for mixing, that's obvious. And for mastering, I wouldn't really trust the cheapest headphones here. DT700 Pro X, the closed back version, is also not so great for mastering in my opinion. However, if you get open DT900 Pro X, you'll be fine. These are actually well-balanced headphones. And actually I think that if you get Sennheiser's 650 or Slate VSX, it's all a question of you getting used to those headphones, getting to know them, and I think you'll get great results here in mastering. More detail and better high-end is available in DT1770 and NDH30, and I just couldn't resist giving HD800S from Sennheiser 6 stars because they are just superb. Same for Dolby. Sennheiser's 800S are just so wide and they've got so much deepness, depth in a mix, and transient response is also superb. However, there are also 2 models that really stand out in this comparison, DT1770 and NDH30. They are great for Dolby Atmos in my opinion. However, I also think that you can get great results with DT900 Pro X. These are really open and bright and give nice space. I gave only 3 stars to Sennheiser this time because I think that the soundstage could be just a little bit wider. And I think DT900 offers a little bit wider soundstage. And if you'd like to have just one pair of headphones for all your devices, including your phone and tablet and etc., just get one of these. I would recommend Sennheiser HD560S or this one of those new Beyerdynamics 700 or 900 or Slate VSX. These 4 headphones are actually best for mobile devices. So that's it. If you liked it, again, please subscribe and I'll see you soon. And if you have any questions or you disagree with my subjective opinion, just give me a note and I'll be happy to get involved in a discussion. So see you soon, guys.